So you like ravens, Noxus, stacks, thick armor, and being an absolute goddamn alpha? Then Swain, the Hitler of Noxus, is for you. Buckle up, boys, cause the Swain train is leaving the station. Before we get into Swain's abilities, let's do a quick summary of his lore to show just how much of an alpha this man was. Swain was born into a prominent and noble Noxian family that helped Borum Darkwill rise to power and was destined for an easy life. But a cabal had formed in the heart of Noxus under the name of the Black Rose. This cabal sought to take over Noxus and destroy Darkwill. Swain was tasked with the destruction of this cabal and executed everyone he could find who was related to the Black Rose. This included his parents, whom he thought were not as important as the future of Noxus. Because he exposed the cabal, he got put in charge of a Noxian army. Swain decimated and secured the western border, and his reputation as general spread all the way to Shurima. But Darkwill began to go restless and started to be corrupt by the very cabal he sought to destroy. He sent armies to places that even had the slightest rumor of some relic being hidden there that could extend the mortal lifespan. Swain's forces were taxed immensely from these excursions and left him nearly depleted. Finally, at the Battle of Placidium, he was defeated by the local militia. This battle left his left knee shattered and his left arm torn to ribbons by Ionian steel. Left for dead, a raven came to feast upon his soon-to-be dead corpse. But he looked into that raven's eyes and said, "Bet!" Through sheer willpower, he got up and made his way back to Noxus, but ended up being cast out as a cripple. But he knew what he must do in order to bring Noxus back to power. Darkwill was no longer suited to be a leader, having been seduced by the Black Rose into doing their bidding. Because of this, Swain sought to find the darkness that he saw in the Raven's eye on the battlefield that fateful day. His search led him to the Immortal Bastion, and there he found the demon, feasting on all the souls of the dead soldiers. Swain looked at that demon, and through sheer alpha willpower and badassery, bended it to his will. He was restored to much more than the perfect human condition through the demon. After that, Swain started to gain followers and planned for years in the shadows. Then one night, he made his move and captured Noxus in one single night. Swain then executed Darkwill in front of everyone and smashed the throne to pieces. He sought to bring unity to Noxus and establish a Triferate so that no one could rule unopposed. Swain used the power of the demon to see all the dark threats that would come at Noxus, but the people wondered if the darkness they would face in the time to come would pale in comparison to the things that Swain has done. Swain is a tanky mage that is capable of dishing out unholy amounts of damage throughout almost all points of the game, and late game, with Zonia's and Spirit Visage, he's almost unstoppable with how much healing he can generate. Some people play Swain mid, but nah, that's beta shit. And on this channel, we only alphas. We play Swain support. But support is beta, you might say. Well, it is, except when you play Swain. Let me show you a little video on how it's like to land against Swain bot lane. We like to party. 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 Swain is a lane bully and a late game god whose kit makes him, in my opinion, the strongest support in the game. And that brings us to the first part of Swain, his passive. Swain's passive is "Fetch me their souls!" The first part of Swain's passive lets Swain rip the anal beads right out of any immobilized target, dealing 20 to 105 damage based on level, plus 30% of your ability power. It also pulls them a short distance towards you. Right-clicking on the immobilized champion will trigger this effect, and the second part of the passive will come into play. Anytime a champion is immobilized on the map, it will leave behind a raven for 16 seconds that you can then pick up when you're in range. This is extremely strong late game with how much you will heal and with your ult. I'll explain more on that in a bit, but first we gotta talk about the Q. The Big Bang Super Mega Magic Shotgun Bolt Cannon. Swain's Q lets him fire 5 bolts of Eldritch? I think that's how you pronounce it? But anyway, he fires 5 of these bolts, and each one doing 55 through 135 magic damage, plus 40% of your AP in a cone-like shape. The target can be hit with more than one bolt, dealing 15 through 35% more damage. These bolts stop upon hitting enemies. This ability is pretty simple, but there are some tricks to it. It is very much like a shotgun, whereas the farther you are away from the target, the less damage you do, and the closer you are, the more damage you do. This is because you're hitting with more than just one of your magic tendrils. This will pop squishy late game and does a good amount of damage early game. This is the main source of your damage, other than just existing in your ultimate. Now onto Swain's W, the Eye of Sauron. Swain summons this eye thing that reveals the targeted area for 2 seconds before exploding. This ability does 100 through 300 damage plus 70% of your AP. Champions are slowed when revealed for 4 to 8 seconds and drop a soul fragment for Swain to pick up. Not only is its range massive, but it's a very safe way for telling if people are on Dragon or Baron. It's also great for picking off runaway target. This ability synergizes very well with Swain's E, which is "Get over here!" Or as I sometimes like to call it, the Demonic Bitch Slap. Swain launches a demonic hand in a direction that passes through all enemies hit, doing 35 through 175 damage, plus 25% of your AP. Once it reaches its maximum distance, it comes back to Swain, stopping upon the first enemy hit and dealing 35 through 75 damage, plus 25% of your AP to all enemies hit. Once an enemy is hit by the hand on the way back, they are stunned for 1.5 seconds. The moment they are stunned, you will almost always want to pull them towards you with your passive unless you are running away. Now this ability is weird. It says it stops upon the first enemy hit on the way back, but I have had like 5-man stuns land before. Granted, they were all standing next to each other, but this ability can stun a lot more than just one person. This ability is extremely strong early game because of Swain's path. Level this ability up first and go on a complete offensive when you're support. This will help you get a bunch of stacks and set you up for some great kill potential. Next up is Swain's R. Swain's R is...
All women are queens. If she breathes, she's a fuck!
Swain launches into full purifier mode and purges all the thoughts from the map. He unleashes the demon inside and goes on a full cleansing of thoughts for 12 seconds, gaining 125 through 275 bonus health, plus 5 for each soul fragment collected. Swain creates a massive AoE damage pool around him that drains the 3 closest enemies to him, prioritizing champions, dealing 25 through 65 damage, plus 14.167% of your AP per second. What kind of a number is 14.167? Were they just like, oh my gosh, 14% is too weak, but 15% is too strong? Well, better just make it 14.167. I don't understand, Riot. This will do up to 420 through 780 plus 170% of your AP per enemy. While in ult, he will restore 20 through 30 health plus 16% of his AP per second per enemy hit. This is reduced by 90% to enemies. Good lord, this is a mouthful. But there's more. At the end of Swain's ult, or by reactivating it, he will send out a demon flare that covers the range of his ult that deals 100 through 250 damage plus 50% of your AP plus 75% of the health Swain has healed. Good lord. So basically, the longer you stay in your ult, the more damage and healing you will do. If you use Demon Flare before his ult is up, it'll stop your ult and you go back to being just normal non-purifier Swain. This ability is what makes Swain Swain. The ability is insane at all points during the game. You just don't die once you get it. This is what makes him so strong as a support. The people go for the ADC, but little do they know, you're soaking up all the damage and are about to unleash a nuclear bomb on their asses. The healing you get is insane just by itself, but if you add in Conqueror and Spirit Visage, you are practically unkillable. And then your ult stays active during the Zonias. So one of my favorite moves is to just literally flash R into the entire team and just press Zonias and watch myself heal for infinite amounts while my team destroys everyone else. This takes us right into the next part of Swain, his item path. Swain's build path tends to follow the same thing most every game. You just build the items in a different order depending on how the game goes. In all cases, you're going to want to start with your typical support buy of a Spell Thief's Edge and 2 pots. From there, you're going to rush right into Rod of Ages. While rushing, don't buy anything except for control wards and pots if needed. Your runes will give you the boots. The sooner you get the rod, the stronger you are. After that, go right into Sorcerer's Boots. The next few items are where the build gets interchangeable. Most of the time, you will go more Nomicon to stop someone from healing and help you get through some armor. But you could opt to go Spirit Visage or Zonias depending on if you are needing help surviving team fights or if they just have an assassin such as Zed. If the team has no massive healing, you can switch out more Nomicon for Leandres, which is very nice with your ult because it slows them and that just means more healing. Late game, you're going to want to buy some potions to help. I almost always go the Potion of Iron just to be even bigger and to survive longer. Your final build should look something like this: Spell Thieves, Rod, Sorcerer's Boots, Moronomicon, Spirit Visage, and finally Zonias. For Swain's runes, I have seen many different varieties that you can take. They're all wrong. The only acceptable rune to take on Swain is Conqueror. The healing you get is a godsend. For the rest of the tree, you take Triumph, Legend Tenacity, and Coup de Grace. For your second tree, go Inspiration, take a Magical Footwear, and Futures Market, just so you can get Rod of Ages faster. Then, for the 3 little rune thingies, I don't really know what they're called, take 2 Adaptive Force and 1 health. This is the most alpha rune page you can take, and since we're alphas here, that's what we're taking. Swain's combo is pretty simple early. You throw out the E, pulling immediately, and then lay down the W right after the pull. Then just Q. After that, just keep using Q. That's basically all you can do in the laning phase, but once you get to late game, oh baby. I like to call this combo the Concussion Maker. You press R and just face roll all your abilities at once. The only thing you're trying to do is keep them in your R, since eventually you're just going to go off like a tactical nuke. Since we're nearing the end of this video, let's do a quick rundown of why you should play Swain. He's a badass alpha, hidden carry, has freaking opening music when he walks to lane. Yes, legit opening music.
30 seconds until minions spawn.
And most importantly, the man's walk. Look at this. This is the most badass freaking walk. He just walks like, do something. I dare ya. After taking all this into account, it's time to score Swain. Enjoyment, 10 out of 10. Carry potential, 8 out of 10. Just because you cannot carry the 0-16 Mordekaiser. Pure alphaness, 11 out of 10. Should you play Swain? To be honest, I don't really care what the hell you do, but just know when y'all complain about being hard stuck, I'll be sitting passenger and climbing the ranked ladder on the Swain train. Peace out, motherfuckers.